Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 3 in this best of 3. We are all tied up at 1 game apiece. A ZhouXiXi has spawned as the teal Night Elf. Meanwhile, Fanta spawning as the red Undead. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up to the 2-minute mark, as it is going to be another Death Knight versus a Warden matchup. Alright, so I say another, not knowing that ZhouXiXi decided to change things up, going for the Warden this time around, and we'll see what comes of this. Alright, early Warden taking dealing a lot of damage, hoping to finish off this one rock golem, and does do it relatively early. Does have a Cloak of Shadows as the Death Knight getting in some easy shots there. Alright, the Death Knight does have Unholy Aura, so no real fear of any sort of death coil, as the Wisp are now trying to run away. Alright, are we going to see that unit get away? It looks as though the Death Knight may end up trying to get that kill there, and there is that detonation instead. Alright, Warden sitting at level 2. Archer is taking a bit of damage once more, as we are going to see double abolish magic on those skeletal minions at a moment's notice. Archer running all the way back home, gets close enough to a Moonwell, and will be able to live and fight another day. A third Moonwell now being added, as the Death Knight now runs back around. Warden having a very good time there, perhaps going to sell that Cloak of Shadows at her earliest convenience, as the Ancient of War is nicely rooted and has done its job. Death Knight now coming back off to the north, hoping to clear out these Moonwells. As you can see, the Troll Shadow Priest is right there. We may see another cancellation on this Moonwell, but really, I can't believe that Fanta is really trying to put pressure on a Moonwell. All it's going to really do is cause maybe a split-second delay on that Moonwell there. Nothing really to be worried about, as the Warden should not be chasing this Death Knight either. The Death Knight is faster with Unholy Aura, and as it's moving around, it is just going to be far too easy. But what is this? A huge army of ghouls now surrounding the other direction, as the Warden on her way to pick up a pair... Nope, thought she was going to pick up a pair of Nikes from the Goblin Merchant shop. Apparently not that big into new shoes yet. Warden now making its way over. Let's see. The ghouls are all in position. The Warden has to be extremely careful. The Death Knight does have Dust of Appearance, only 1 Rod of Necromancy charge, as the skeletal minions get in some easy blows there. This is going to be a bit of a problem. A second Ancient of War is inside the base. Let's take a look. Another Moonwell is right there. This is actually a very good spot for ZhouXiXi to fight. She needs to defend the war with that Warden. And is that Warden going to be able to do enough here? All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Wisp now being brought over. You can see an army of units being positioned in such a way that any units trying to come in to reinforce actually got picked off. Beautiful strategy there, as the Ghoul now trying to get back over again. All right, all of these units, perhaps they're going to be making a little bit of another play in the center, as the Ghouls are now making their way back down, trying to see if they can find any low hit point units. Massive armies being macroed up early on, and a different strategy this time around from these players. This is not the same game 1, game 2, game 3 rinse and repeat that we often see. No, this is a very distinctive strategy that we're seeing from individual players for specific maps, it appears. The archers are now trying to pull back here. Ghouls are going to be getting into position, as the Death Knight is trying to catch up to that Warden. Meanwhile, skeletal minions attempting to take down the Ancient of War, not going to be very helpful at all, as there is still a large number of ghouls. The archers running for their lives. They're going to be splitting every which way to get away from the army here. And is the archer going to be able to wake up the creeps? No, not able to. And a beautiful surround there. All right, let's take a look at this. More units trying to get away here. Ghoul may be able to get off an easy kill there, as that archer is rather low on hit points. That Ghoul trying to run away. Is the Warden going to get surrounded? And the Warden is surrounded here. Going to perhaps Shadow Meld, at least force the Dust of Appearance, and then get taken out. That was rather silly, though. The forcing of the Dust of Appearance, he must have known that his opponent had it. And now, an Ancient of War may even be taken out as well. ZhouXiXi in serious trouble. That Ancient of War is very critical. Or was very critical to the fight. You can see Hunter's Hall now trying to get Ultra Vision to be able to catch where his opponent is pretty much at all times. Warden hired back up, and now what is going to be happening here? The Warden trying to get some easy shots off. The Troll Shadow Priest, oh, the Archer will be able to Shadow Meld this time around, as the Death Knight has already used its Dust of Appearance. However, Nightfall will be breaking here in just a moment. That Archer needs to run away, as the Archers are now doing a little bit of just mass splitting. This is not good for ZhouXiXi. ZhouXiXi seems a little bit unorganized at this point, as the Death Knight is going to find a free Hunter's Hall to take down. All right, drinking some OJ this time around, as we see Archers now trying to pull back here. Archer may use that Moonwell, yes, completely drain, or uses 170 mana to go ahead and heal up a lot of hit points. Troll Shadow Priest are now running back around again, as the Death Knight is still trying to catch up to the rest of the units. The Warden still does not have Boots of Speed, which I am surprised about, since the Warden is such a powerful melee hero. She cannot be just fighting around on a foot race against an Unholy Aura Undead army without those shoes. What's happening now is that Warden is pretty much being shut down and being zoned out of every fight possible, as the Ghouls and the Troll Berserkers are now making their way to take down the Gnolls here. All right, the Death Knight now making its way over here. Warden gonna go ahead and perhaps just try to keep tabs on that army. The Ghoul more than enough to push back this Warden over here, as we're looking at the Archers, Troll Shadow Priest, and an Ogre Mauler perhaps doing a bit of tanking. All right, no, yes, it is going to be happening exactly that way. That Ogre Mauler, good enough to tank a little bit of damage. You can see him take a lot of that damage right there, going after the Gnoll Wardens now, as the Warden off over here, hoping to perhaps get to level 3. If the Warden can get to level 3, Shadow Strike becomes significantly more powerful. 100 more, really more than double the damage. Just because I believe, does it go from 15 to 30? Okay, exactly double the damage, but that double damage really takes a big toll. The Death Knight would have been forced to just constantly death coil his own units to try and keep them alive. All right, Warden picks up a Ring of Protection +2, is going to get healed up nicely, as the Ogre Mauler, the tank of this army, something that you don't really have for Night Elf until you get to tier 3, is going to just sit in the front lines again. All right. Perfect strategy here. As you can see, the Ogre Mauler, or Ogre Magi, getting a little bit slowed here. Ogre Mauler doing a great job doing what it's supposed to with that big giant club, taking down unit after unit, as the Ogre Magi is going to get taken out as well. Pendant of Energy is all that is dropped. Looks like the Warden will pick that up very quickly, and now a high mana Warden is always something to be afraid of. Let's take a look. Lich has been trained. We see an Orb of Corruption, as we are already at tier 3 by the Undead army, and we are already bringing out the Obsidian statues. So a very quick late game coming in from the Undead, and I still don't see the bears coming out for ZhouXiXi yet. You can see that there is a bear there. Adept training is already out, but it is still going to be quite some time before we have mastery training. All right, that Archer taking a bit of damage should perhaps decide to back off. No, a day late and $1 short as it gets taken out. Warden now sitting at level 4 and also has Rune Bracers, as the Ogre Mauler may get Death Coiled and Frost Nova'd right before the Scroll of Town portal goes off. Ogre Mauler caught between a rock and a goblin merchant shop, and, well, didn't make it back home. Let's go ahead and figure out what these players do. A little bit of a status report. ZhouXiXi, 43/60. 53 over 64 Fanta. Fanta definitely in the driver's seat right now. He's going to be able to determine the pace of the game, especially with Obsidian statues already out on the field, ready to turn into destroyers in this next fight. All right, there is the roar. That is plenty of Devour magic bait as ZhouXiXi losing a full Moonwell already. Now what's going to be happening? There is a Frost Nova onto the units in the back, and this is exactly what you don't want to see as a Night Elf. You have bears, you don't have enough Dryads to deal with the destroyers. The destroyers devour magic all of the roar and now have more hit points for it. Warden now looking to really fight this fight back, and she has 15 seconds to do so. Is the Warden going to be able to fight back this fight? That is the big question, as we see unit after unit pretty much falling. All right, there goes one Troll Berserker, and a Ghoul looks like it's going to be able to make its way back out. And there is a Blink. There is a Shadow Strike onto the Death Knight. Death Knight now getting a little bit slowed here, but I don't believe the Warden has enough gas in the tank to really do any serious chasing. All right, let's take a look. Dark Ritual coming in from the Lich as another Shadow Strike down onto the Death Knight. Death Knight very, very low, and this is all possible because of that one Pendant of Energy. That Pendant of Energy making it very, very easy. There's a Shadow Strike. Oh, there's the Frost Nova. And yes, Boots of Speed could have made the big difference once more. I can't believe another Dark Ritual. Lich constantly denying experience and playing this very, very well. Wow, Lich doing the great job right there. I gotta say, if the Lich or if the Undead wins, it probably has to do with the experience denied by that Lich. That Warden would be very close to level 5 right now. Drop the Pendant, please. Thank you. Getting backed up to full mana, 495 full mana, ready to absolutely be a boss, pretty much. Death Knight, low on hit points, cannot afford to engage, as the Death Knight knows that his opponent is pretty much full on mana already. All right, Druids of the Claw ready to go. There's another big roar coming in as the mana is being regenerated. We should have a rejuvenation onto that bear momentarily, as the Warden now up to level 4 or level 5 with 2 Rune Bracers. Now, I'll have to double check this, but do Rune Bracers stack? I don't see these items dropped often enough for me to even consider it, but a Death Coil Frost Nova on the Warden would pretty much deal very little damage at this point. Maybe 50% damage reduction, or maybe even higher, since it is hero armor plus Rune Bracers. All right, the Rune Bracers quickly sold off. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability added. I don't believe we saw a Tome of Retraining. There is a Shadow Strike, as we see that the Warden is already going to come in here looking to take down easy Acolytes. All right, all the Acolytes, are they going to fall? No, the Ghouls are going to get taken down. There goes another Ghoul. There is a Shadow Meld, and Fanta Fiction unable to harvest any gold. All right, there is the Blink out. What is that Warden looking to do? An expansion, a ninja expansion, expanding towards your opponent, pretty much unheard of, hoping that that expansion will go undetected. All right, on the other hand, ZhouXiXi is also building an expansion at the normal location, and that normal location expansion, if it is hunted down, may stop Fanta from actually looking for a new expansion attempt. All right, there goes the Warden. Warden going after an Acolyte. There it goes, quickly taken down. Slaughterhouse, Obsidian statue may get taken out very quickly, as well as the Slaughterhouse already down to 400 hit points and falling rapidly. Scroll of Town Portal. Units already deciding to back off. What is this Warden really hoping to do? There is another Shadow Strike, and able to blink away that Warden. Very low on hit points. I don't really know what that Warden was expecting, but you can see that, it's now being silenced. Oh, this is just absolute nightmare. All right, what are we going to have here? Are we going to see another Shadow Strike? Pretty much having to hold down and keeping track of the Warden, but wasting that Potion of Invulnerability for nothing really, as it kind of backtracked over itself. All right, Troll Shadow Priest getting taken out to make perhaps another bear. I believe another bear should be getting trained up in just a second. No, what's going on? 47 over... No, trying to get Wisp for the gold mine here. That's what they want to do. Wisp for the gold mine, as the Warden is pretty much back up to full everything. All right, let's take a look. 56 over 70. Why kill those Troll Shadow Priests if... Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Destroyers off over here was able to scout out that expansion. Destroyer now looking for perhaps another expansion. Will be able to find it, but that is going to be established for quite some time. Meanwhile, the Warden is ready and prime to do more damage once again. All right, are we going to see the blink inside? Yes, we are. There is the Shadow Strike. There goes one Acolyte already. A second Acolyte is going to bite the dust. Maybe even a third and a fourth here, as I'm going to Shadow Strike. Oh, Shadow Strike the wrong one. Should have attacked the one further in the back with the Shadow Strike, as the Warden does not have a Staff of Teleportation. This is actually a really bad spot for her to be in. Gonna have to Scroll of Town Portal back, as the army is now making its way back over. All right, there is that Warden back already home, really using up 350 gold for maybe a handful of Acolytes, a little bit of gold lost during the mining, but he doesn't really care right now since he knows he's winning the economic race. All right, Ancient of War off over here, trying to survive, trying to fight. You can see Dryads now making their way over. That is a very large army, going to be very difficult to engage, and there's only 2 Dryads with a large number of bears. 2 Destroyers. The Warden is going to be able to blink away again, and the Warden is going to be the necessary one-man army to go ahead and try to win this. 58 over 60 supply. Creeps now getting taken out here. More gold being added into the coffers of ZhouXiXi, as the Warden able to blink beyond, picking up a Tome of Retraining, and now gonna retrain. What is it gonna do with that Tome of Retraining? That is the key question. Bear walking into 3 Destroyers. Absolute needless destruction there. A second bear now going to get taken down. We have 4 bears left. The archers and the dryads attempting to focus down units. A beautiful fan of knives come in, as the Warden now goes after a handful of units. All right, the Warden very low on hit points. There goes another Crypt Fiend, as the archers are now trying to run away. Bears doing a little bit of chasing. Where is that Warden? Warden gets up to level 6, and the level 6 Warden now has the Avatar of Vengeance. That is the #1 reason why. Oh, the Warden could just go for another fan of knives and perhaps take down a handful of these units here in just a moment, as all the units are still on a bit of a run. All right, is the Warden perhaps going to be able to catch up here? You can see that the Avatar of Vengeance is going to be coming in, and the Avatar of Vengeance is such a problem for Undead to deal with, because those little minions are invulnerable. All right, gonna go ahead and just go after some of these units now. You can see Crypt Fiends trying to run back away. They are taking a little bit of damage. It's only 17 to 21, but that damage does tend to stack over time. And with ZhouXiXi holding on to this expansion, ZhouXiXi is very much still alive at this point. 58 over 70 supply compared to 54 over 60. That does mean the Undead army has a slightly larger army at this point, since there are a lot more Wisp than there are Acolytes and Ghouls. All right, Acolytes once again harvesting more and more gold. Does the Warden, if the Warden realizes that there is still a Crypt Fiend hiding here, that would absolutely be brilliant. I don't know if he was actually keeping track of that, but the Warden currently sitting at level 6 could just try to push inside the main base right now. ZhouXiXi does have a Tree of Life underway once again at the 12 o'clock position. That Warden pretty much back up to full, or that Crypt Fiend pretty much back up to full hit points, could rejoin the fight at any point, as the Avatar of Vengeance is ready to go. All right, let's go ahead and run on in. Avatar of Vengeance heads off to the north, uses the graveyard, and should be able to just pick up a lot of skeletal minions. Not quite sure why it isn't doing exactly that. Warden now in a bit of trouble, needs to blink out. What is it doing? Does it not have blink? That is a big problem there, and taking way too much damage as it is able to finally get away. We need to see a rejuvenation, and there is the rejuvenation. Warden in a little bit of trouble. Where is she going to be going? You can see Wisp all just lined up, ready to go inside a gold mine that is not yet entangled, as we're looking for the Undead army now making a bit of a play off to the north. Here we go. There's the bears. Level 3, level 1 training. We should see perhaps a Devour Magic. The bear is getting absolutely destroyed. Blink in, Fan of Knives, and there is that engagement. So far, the Warden able to do a lot of damage to the destroyers, and the Orb of Venom having the added benefit of making the Warden a ranged anti-air unit. So far, we are seeing a lot of damage being added up. Where is that Warden again? The Warden is kind of hidden back off over here, as the avatar is not where it needs to be. So far, bears are getting picked off, but now there are no more Crypt Fiends on the ground, and there are a whole bunch of Dryads. Let's see, the Burrowed Crypt Fiend going to get taken out very easily there, as the Lich going to go ahead and take down a Dryad there. This is the problem. Everyone's units are countering everyone else's units so well that we are now going to end up being in a Destroyer Dryad situation where the Dryads obviously have the upper hand. The problem is the amount of experience that the bears have been ending up giving to the opponent. Avatar Archers now being left behind. Meanwhile, this Dryad heading back home, and ZhouXiXi is sitting at 54 over 90 compared to 58 over 70, but Undead has no more gold. We are now getting, 14 gold a second compared to 0 gold a second. 14 times 6, was that 70, 12 times 6 is 72. Add another 7. 86 gold, 860 gold a minute coming in from the Night Elf. Meanwhile, 0 gold a minute. So every minute we go by is an extra 2 bears pretty much that could be on the field. Undead needs to make something happen and needs to do it in a hurry. Meanwhile, the Dryads, if they're able to poke apart their opponent and get damage onto these buildings, that would be key. So far, the Undead now being forced to run all the way back home. Does the Warden? Yes, the Warden can play the gold game with another Scroll of Town Portal. The Warden can just take down the Black Citadel, reset the tech. Oh, bears taking a lot of damage here. This could be really bad. Is the Black Citadel going to get taken down? It looks like it might. Yes, it does. There's the Scroll of Town Portal, but 2 bears go down in the process. All right, let's take a look back over here. 55 over 90 supply, 58 over 50. But remember, there are a lot more Wisp on the field. No real way to bring up a unit counter since this is the WarCraft 3 interface, as the Destroyers are now finding the expansion back to the 12 o'clock location. Warden in a little bit of trouble. Are the Dryads right there? Yes, they are, and the Dryads could easily turn things around. Bears are right there. They are now ready in bear form. The Dryads, or the Destroyers, realizing, hey, we cannot take down this Tree of Life. We need to be together as one army. We have a lot of obsidian statues, but that still may not be enough, as the Warden walks or blinks right into a trap again. Beautiful, or horrible spot to be in, but will be able to slip away, as the Warden doing a good job keeping track that his opponent has no bases. All right, apparently ZhouXiXi taking a play out of Moon's playbook, going after all of the expansions and just hoping to win the game economically. ZhouXiXi is going to end up losing this base to the 12 o'clock position, but not before a handful of acolytes get taken out as well. All right, 56 over 50. Are the bears and the Dryads now making their way in? Yes, they are. More Dryads pushing through, and there is pretty much only one Spirit Tower here. Dryads going after the Destroyers. Bears having a bad time, as the Warden going after another acolyte, and the Destroyers are pretty much unable to defend their own base. Now, at this point, I think ZhouXiXi is going to have it. The Destroyers cannot engage with so many 3-2 upgraded Dryads on the ground. And there is another Scroll of Town Portal. All right, are we going to see a bear getting taken out? No, we are not. And this is just a war of attrition, except for the fact that ZhouXiXi can still produce units. this is pretty much going to be the end of things, as ZhouXiXi getting gold. What was that? 7 times 60, 420 gold a minute right now, and soon we'll be getting more as an expansion down here to the south is once again being established. It's going to be 2 bases, maybe even 3 at some point, as the destroyers may catch and sniff something interesting. They may be thinking, where are those wisps going? If they see that an expansion is being established over here at the 5 o'clock position, it's going to really split things up just a bit more. As here we go, the destroyers and the dryads ready to go at it once more. There are a handful of crypt fiends, but with the warden and that blink fan of knives, those crypt fiends have not been able to counter those dryads near enough. Destroyers are getting in position. We need to see the destroyers perhaps catch a handful of bears out of position, as they are a bit slower. If they can catch these bears out of position, perhaps get the Death or get the Dark Ranger and the Lich higher up in level, which isn't going to be too difficult right now, then they have a bit of a fighting chance. Otherwise, the Night Elf is just going to maintain too much of a lead, as the Dark Ranger now hits level 3. I believe the Lich is still level 4, yeah. And now, are we going to get to level 5 on the Lich? No, not quite yet, as we are still fighting both sides. So far, there's a Dust of Appearance. 1 Crypt Fiend down, 2nd Crypt Fiend down, and the Dryads are pretty much going to go completely unchecked. No Staff of Preservation, but I don't think it's going to matter. Avatar of Vengeance, so much anti-air that is immune to magic. The Dryads just poking their way through. The Lich unable to get away easily. And are we going to see a fan of knives right here? Yes, we do. The Warden still benefiting from those rune bracers, able to stay alive for a very, very long time. Druid of the Claw perhaps should turn back into bear form. Oh, no. Druid form, no, does not, as the Death Knight able to get off a Death Coil from long range and get the killing blow. All right, Dark Ranger still at level 3. Lich now 9 experience away from level 4. And we are looking at what's going to be happening here. Warden is sitting at level 7, almost level 8, still pushing back the top. Lich in a bit of trouble. Looks like Lich looks like will be able to get away. Are we going to see a Death Coil? No Death Coil. And the Lich, Potion of Healing just in time, as the Death Knight may be able to get off a Death Coil to try and save the Lich again, as the Death Knight was able to transfer the potion, not get a Death Coil off though, as the Lich is still in a bit of trouble. Not quite sure why the Death Knight isn't healing that Lich at this point. Vengeance, Avatar of Vengeance taking a bit of damage. Here we go, another engagement. So far, the Dark Ranger and the Lich are the only things that can really counter these Dryads. Everything else is either melee or cannot deal any damage to magic units. So far, this is looking really bad for the Destroyer army, as the Warden comes around the other way, hoping to get more kills. Bear now coming in. The Bear not getting focused down by that lone Destroyer, as the Dryads are bringing up the rear again. Death Knight sitting at level 5. Lich sitting at level 5. Frost Nova could be coming in onto that Warden at any moment, but with a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability on that Warden, I don't believe that she will be stopped. She is the epitome of that one-woman army leading the way. So difficult, as that Avatar of Vengeance can summon so many free units off of this graveyard. The longer this game goes, you can see how much gold is just coming in for ZhouXiXi. ZhouXiXi mining from 3 gold mines, something that is extremely rare in WarCraft 3. And is still having trouble. This just goes to show you how strong Fanta is, and how much of brute force ZhouXiXi is using to just try and overrun his opponent. It's not working. It's not working as drastically as it would, say, in StarCraft 2. But this is one of the reasons why WarCraft 3 is so exciting. You can go ahead and have these long, drawn-out fights that really have units dying, but still unable or unsure of who's really going to come out ahead. So far, the Lich at level 5, Death Knight at level 5. If the Dark Ranger, Lich, and Death Knight are able to shut down the Warden fast enough, that could be the end of that. Death Knight now making its way over, perhaps taking down the Rock Golem creep camp. That would give the Dark Ranger a little bit more experience, but it would also give a little bit of gold, even though that gold might not mean much in terms of training units, it could perhaps buy the necessary items for that Death Knight to last just long enough. One destroyer, 3 obsidian statues, and 3 heroes. I could think of a lot worse to try and rely on for the victory. As you can see here, the base is just being torn apart. No real way to counter it. And now that it's turned into a base race, there is no way that I can see for Fanta to get back into this. Undead. Dark Ranger not going to even get to level 4 after clearing up this creep camp. You see there's a Zeppelin here, but I don't believe there's any Acolytes. And it is just going to come down to the destruction of buildings. And there we go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. ZhouXiXi really just taking over that game. The resource score was the real difference, as you can see how much gold was harvested. 22,000 gold versus 11,000. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.